Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and we are Unite Inside and we help people unite with all the parts inside of them. In this video, I came with a very important video that a lot of people really need to learn, which is the art of healing yourself. How to master the art of healing yourself. So this is a very interesting question because a lot of us are going through our healing journeys and we are trying to reconnect back to those parts of us that we have denied, disowned, and it's a messy process. And for a beginner that have not even started their spiritual journey, or for someone that is in the middle of their messy spiritual journey, because I am on one too, this video is for you. So let's begin. The first step I want to talk about, the first important fact that you have to know about healing in general, is that it is very, very necessary and crucial for you to learn how to become patient with emotion. What does that mean? Becoming patient with emotion is basically building up that muscle. It's almost like a muscle of feeling, expanding how deep can you feel a certain thing, especially those deep, difficult emotions. A lot of people, they want to heal, but unfortunately, especially if you are watching this right now and you haven't even figured out how to heal yourself, but you know you have trauma, the first issue is that we run away from our emotions, we avoid them. Avoiding them was never the answer. In fact, avoiding them was actually what created a survival type of feeling within us. It's because when we cope with our emotions, instead of feeling them, when we avoid them, we end up having to cope with them. If you avoid a certain feeling that you haven't processed yet, you're gonna have to cope with it. That's what the nervous system does, is that because it's so unsafe in the body, like feeling betrayed or feeling disconnected and feeling sad as a little kid can be very, very scary. And so with that being said, actually, because it's very scary, we need like an adult, like our parents, to hold us, to help us to self-regulate, to help us regulate, to regulate our emotions with us. But that's something that we've been missing. A lot of us in our childhoods have not gotten through that because our parents' emotions are not regulated either. They themselves cope with their feelings. They don't know how to process emotion. They don't know how to be with emotion. They don't know how to release emotion. None of that. We have not been taught this in school. We have not been taught this anywhere. And so not even in therapy sometimes. And so that's why it's very, very important to process and feel that emotion instead of just talking about it, or instead of shoving it under a rug or pretending that it's not there, because all these things, avoiding it is not going to help you. In fact, avoiding it is, like I said, it is the opposite of healing. What happens, how did your trauma get created? Your trauma got created from you not processing those difficult emotions and just letting them be there, and your body didn't know what to do with them. If you don't process them, if you don't sit with them, then the body is feeling unsafe in the company of these feelings. And so the only thing left to do for your ego, for your nervous system, is to basically create like a coping mechanism. That's where a coping mechanism would come to play in the game of trauma. It's because then you have to cope with the fact that you don't feel good enough, you don't feel like you deserve love, you don't feel like you are safe to get your needs met. But you don't have, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to either getting to the point where you're like coping with these emotions. Emotions, any sort of feelings, are supposed to be processed, sat with, and you need to learn how to self-regulate. As an adult, now that you have became your own person, it is crucial to realize that I'm my own person and I can hold space for my inner child. I can start learning how to do that. It's gonna be hard because you have to be witnessing your nervous system breaking down and going through all these fear tendencies, but you have to learn how to hold yourself through it. That's actually a very important step. If you want to learn how to heal, you have to self-regulate, which means you come face to face with your emotions, you feel your emotion. You let yourself experience your emotion. It doesn't matter how hard it is. The only reason why it's hard is because we actually have a lot of resistance to emotion due to certain reasons. And I want to list out those reasons right now. One is because experiencing emotions, sometimes we feel these intense emotions, we feel as if we're out of control. And if you feel out of control, you have to know that that is a danger. It's almost like ding ding to our nervous system. This is unsafe. And so if it is unsafe for the body, then the body is going to think, oh my God, this is unsafe. I have to do something about it. I shouldn't feel it. I have to run away from it. The body starts to freak out, basically. And that is why you need to learn how to be with yourself. You hold yourself through that emotion, something that your parents didn't do for you. But that's how you break generational curses, because we pass that pain onto the next generation and the next generation. The more we suppress it and we avoid it, because it comes out in different ways. It comes out in ways like aggression, a lot of anger, anxiety, crying spells, just a lot of weird stuff, even mental illnesses and health issues, like actual physical health issues. It comes as a manifestation of a feeling that has not been processed. It is still desiring to be processed. I want to tell you how emotion works. Emotion works like this. Your emotion is like a part of you. Imagine that it's like an entity, like a part of you that's inside of you, that is literally like an inner child part. It's emotional part, right? And so imagine that this inner child or this entity inside of you is experiencing a distress experience. It's either that they are perceiving danger, they feel like they're not going to get their needs met, they feel afraid, they feel betrayed, they feel that they don't know what to do about the situation. That's how they feel. So you come in as the adult, as the leader of your life, of yourself, and you breathe in with your being, with your inner child that is hurt. You hold yourself and then you start asking questions. How do you feel? You feel like there is nothing else that can be done. I get it. At first, just understanding your feelings and how they feel. Okay, I get it. It is too hard. I get it. It's too intense. This is too much. You're feeling overwhelmed. I get it. You're feeling like you can't get what you want. You're feeling powerless. Oh, that's why you feel like you're feeling powerless, and powerlessness feels unsafe. And so a lot of times when we feel these intense emotions, there's powerlessness that comes with it. And that feeling of powerlessness is a very, very unsafe feeling. And it literally makes the body feel, oh my God, I have nothing to do. I'm going to be trapped in this feeling. But just because you feel powerless, it does not mean that you are actually powerless. Yeah, it means you feel powerless. And so start understanding that your feelings aren't truths. You can listen to them. You can go inward and go and actually explore them, be face to face with them. But there is no risk, I want to tell you here, of just because it feels intense, you can acknowledge it. Okay, it feels intense. Okay, this is too much. I get it. You feel that there's nothing else that you can do. I'm sorry. Just give compassion to yourself. I'm sorry you feel this way. This is really bad. It's horrible. I get it. Like, validate yourself. Validating yourself and your emotions makes your emotions feel better. It makes them release themselves. I want to tell you something. Just validating your emotions make you feel less powerless. And I'll tell you why. It's because your emotions feel, okay, well, at least I'm valid, then there's something that can be done about this. And there's always something that can be done about this. But how can you reach these realizations where you can repair with yourself, when you can self-repair, when you can repair your own wounds? You can only do that when sitting with your emotions. If you don't sit with your emotions and you avoid them, you'll never reach those realizations, truths, and boundaries about yourself. I want to tell you something about your emotions, is that the reason why it's very important to be tuned into them and to sit with them, especially when they're hard, is because there is a lot of information that comes in from your soul through those deep emotions. They mean something. There's always a message there. Like, for example, the feeling of shame always means that you are pushing a part of you away, that you are basically saying that you shouldn't feel a certain way or that you shouldn't do a certain thing. There is like a shouldn't, I shouldn't do this. But the message here is that you have to bring that part with you. Instead of saying I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't feel that way, you can say, if you feel ashamed of something, you can say, you can practice acceptance. Like, well, you can shift that feeling of shame by accepting that part back to you, and that simply is going to help that part that feels ashamed to, like, I'm going to give you an example right now because I don't know if this is making sense for you, but I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you went in a room and that room was full of people and they were trying to talk to you, but you felt awkward, and so you felt awkward, and so you were like red and you were nervous and you didn't know what to say, and then you felt ashamed. And so you sat down feeling ashamed of yourself because you were not able to communicate or to have a good social experience. With that being said, you could ignore that shame because it feels bad. It feels like, oh, I should be different. You don't feel proud of yourself. Or you could sit with it and think, I get it, you feel ashamed, you wish if things were different, you wish if you were able to express yourself, to communicate with these people, but you're not able to be open. That's okay. You have to provide compassion for yourself first. So you say, it's okay, I get it, I know what you want, I'm sorry that you feel this way, and I know that you do deserve to feel confident in front of people. Like, communicating with yourself, giving yourself validation really, really helps and repairs. That's how you process an emotion, okay? You have to talk it out. That's something that we were supposed to do with our parents when we were young, but we didn't do that. Well, we didn't do that because, unfortunately, our parents were not that good at self-regulating themselves. And so it is really not their fault, but it was their responsibility, but now it is your responsibility as an adult to do this for yourself. So then, after you give yourself compassion, okay, I get it, I understand, you want to be, just understand yourself. Don't judge yourself. Like, shift the part from the part of you that judges you, oh, yeah, you should do better, to, I'm sorry that you didn't do as good as you wanted to do. I know that sucks, I'm sorry. Like, that's the relationship that you have to create with yourself. You interact with yourself every day, not push yourself away. And then, in that point, you could say, okay, I get it, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to be awkward. It's okay to not know what to say. You are nervous. You don't know these people. You could start understanding yourself and giving yourself a pass and accepting yourself. Acceptance is the opposite of shame. So you're going to go from, oh, I shouldn't be like this in this situation, to I understand why I'm like this in this situation, and that's okay, you know? But this is a skill that you have to learn with yourself. It doesn't happen overnight because the part of us that is critical can be loud, but you could overpower it if every time it comes up, you give it compassion. I get it, you're judging yourself, I'm sorry, I get it, it hurts. Give yourself compassion, give yourself compassion. Compassion really, really helps, and it helps you to feel validated. It helps your feelings to feel validated. You can do that for yourself, okay? Self-regulation looks like if you're feeling a very intense emotion, like grief, betrayal. Sink into that feeling, okay? That's the first step. I know that your whole body is gonna be screaming to not sink into this feeling. Ask yourself, why is my body trying to run away from this feeling? Oh, it feels very powerless. I don't want to be in this position. I don't know what to do about it. It feels like there's nothing to be done. I feel like my life is over. I feel like this is the end for me. All of that, just keep telling yourself that, and then give yourself compassion when you reach that point. I'm sorry that you feel this way. I know it's horrible. I get it. You might even get into a point where you don't want to be sorry for yourself, or you don't want to give yourself compassion. If you feel that there is a block, that you don't want to give yourself compassion, it could be because you're ashamed of what you're going through. It can be because you feel as if you shouldn't be going through this. So keep working through it. Oh, I'm sorry that you feel like you shouldn't be going through this. I get it. This was not what you expected. This was not what you wanted. So keep working through whatever wall you face through your healing when you're trying to give yourself compassion, or to hold space for yourself, or to feel your emotion to begin with. Keep asking yourself why, and dig deeper and move that wall away. Like, okay, I know that you feel ashamed. It's okay to be going through this. There's no shame in this. There's nothing wrong with you feeling your emotions and caring for yourself in this moment. You deserve to be cared for in this moment. I'm sorry, I'm gonna care for you in this moment. There's nothing embarrassing about this experience, about feeling betrayed, about not being loved. I'm so sorry that you're not being loved. That's actually horrible. It's not your fault. Sometimes we might even feel guilt that is stopping us from giving ourselves compassion. Like, oh my God, blaming yourself. Oh my God, what did I do? I did something wrong. That's why they left me. I did something wrong. That's why they're not giving me love. I'm sorry that you feel you can give yourself compassion even if you feel guilt. I'm sorry that you feel like this, that you're blaming yourself about this. I'm sorry that you are hard on yourself. You know, and start creating a new and more expanded and better relationship with yourself. A more loving, a more compassionate, a more understanding, a more giving, a more soothing. You know, and then if something is too intense, breathe. Be with yourself. Literally hug yourself while you breathe. You can cry. You can hold like I don't know, like you can even hold like a pillow like this and cry. You can say out loud, this is too much, this is intense, I hate this, stuff like that. You can even journal the thoughts. I'm sorry that you feel like this, I love you so much, I feel anxious, I feel this. Whatever it is that you feel, you can journal it. I feel that I shouldn't be experiencing this. I feel that I'm ashamed of myself. It's okay. And then you can tell yourself it's okay. Human experiences are messy, and sometimes we go through pain, and sometimes it's like too painful, and that's all okay. That's okay, okay? So there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of phrases that can stop you from being able to sit with your emotions, like feeling like you're out of control, you know, but you have to, even though you feel that you're out of control, breathe through it and just like be with it and understand it for yourself. Understand, okay, I get it, I feel out of control. Okay, I get it. You feel out of control. It's like you're talking to your inner child, and just understand how hurt and how deep that is for you. Okay, that's how you self-regulate, and you can only self-regulate if you start to expand your ability to be patient with your emotions. A lot of times we want to avoid them, and the reason for this is because we want to run away because it's too much work. We're gonna have to come face to face with some truths about ourselves, about our life. Feelings, like I said, contain truths about ourselves. Sometimes the truth is you have to leave the person that you're with. Sometimes the truth is you have to do your own thing, and you don't know how. It's new. Sometimes the truth is you have to set a very hard boundary that you don't want to say. You have to communicate a certain truth that you don't know if other people are gonna respect or no, but you have to take a decision to, okay, if I'm gonna live in this life, I have to accept myself, okay? I have to accept myself. So if I'm afraid of expressing my truth, then I have to make sure that, why do I want it to be heard? If I'm afraid of expressing it, so that means I do think that it needs to be heard. That means there is a part of me that does think that I deserve to be heard, that is a real truth. And so that's how deep the inner work goes, is that when you keep going deeper and deeper, you realize some truths that you can be convinced with by listening and hearing and just being with yourself, asking questions for yourself, trying to understand how you feel, okay? Trying to understand where you're coming from. And then you understand what's bothering you. A lot of us don't even know why we're so upset, or why we're so mad, why we're so depressed. Like, literally, a lot of people are depressed, they don't know why. Oh, I don't know why. It's a chemical in my brain, which is funny. No, it's not a chemical in your brain. Unfortunately, it's not. It is a trauma that you're running away from, okay? The chemical happens after you experience the trauma. If your vibrations are lowered, if your emotions are all over the place, there's a belief there in your emotions that you need to dig deeper in and figure out what it is. So with that being said, there's decisions that we can take as soon as we're done with our inner work. Like, I need to leave this town. I need to start my own thing. I need to love myself more. I need to prioritize my needs first. All of those things, we discover them, and they actually are solutions to our crisis. And we only discover them after we sit with our feelings. You have to know that sitting with yourself and your feelings, you have wisdom there. You're not alone. You have your higher self sending you its wisdom. So I promise you, I swear to you, just by being with your emotions will give you the answer. They will keep transforming. And I know that a lot of people think that emotions will consume you. Like if you sit with them, they're just gonna consume you, take you in and consume you. No, even if they feel intense in the moment, they feel like they're consuming you, they're actually wanting to be heard. In the moment where you feel like they're consuming you, it's the moment where they're communicating something to you. I feel really bad. I feel they're showing you something that matters to you, okay? Like if you had a fight with your partner and then you started feeling all this sadness, all these bad feelings, it's always because if you dig deeper into it, there is something that really matters there for you, like a boundary or like a real, like a truth about you. Like, I don't want to be disrespected, or like, I don't want to be talked to in this way. It doesn't feel good to me to be treated this way. Stuff like this. Or it's not resonating with me to be with someone like this. Or there's like a lot of truths and wisdom that matters to you. The more you ignore it, the more you break yourself, unfortunately. The more you ignore your truth and that this really matters for you, the more you shove it under the rug, the more you disconnect from the fact that you're damaging yourself. And then you realize that you can't speak your truth, that you can't set boundaries, that you can't love yourself, and all these issues and then you realize, what's wrong with me? Why am I so quiet? Why can't I love myself? Why can't I put myself first? It's because of all those fears and all those emotions that created a lot of fears in you that literally made you reach a point where you're like, oh my God, like I'm so damaged. Like I can't even speak up. But if you do sit with your feelings and you validate them, like what happens when you don't do this, when you don't process your emotion in the moment, you don't sit with it, you don't communicate with yourself, you don't interact, you don't give yourself compassion and all of that, something horrible happens. If you want to know what it is, it's basically that you literally, like I'm not even kidding, you start to feel like you're not worth it. That's how we create unworthiness in our body. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you were a kid and your need was to play with your father football as a boy. So that was your need. It was how you are going to connect with your father, and it was how you're going to meet your need for play and fun. And so you went to your dad and you told him this, and he dismisses it. He doesn't appear to be considering it as important. He appears to be on his phone. He's not giving you attention. So you feel hurt. You feel unimportant. And so you tell him, maybe, because we're kids, we don't know how to tell our parents that we feel unimportant. So maybe you sit in front of him and you're quiet and you're waiting for him to talk to you back or to ask you about your feelings, but he doesn't. Because a lot of us, as kids, we basically, we send hints to our parents for them to pay attention to us. And then he doesn't, so you start crying and being loud. When you do that, he says, what are you doing? Why are you screaming like that? You're a bad boy. Instead of saying, what's wrong, baby? What's happening? Why are you crying? Are you okay? And then that basically opens up the situation for your kid to say, yes, this is what's going on. I feel unimportant. But your parents have not asked you. And so that feeling of unimportance goes unprocessed. It's an unprocessed emotion, which is trauma. An unprocessed emotion is trauma. So you always have, so basically now you have it within you, and it lives within you. It's gonna be in your system. It's gonna be in your energy. And with that being in your energy, with that being in your system, your body's gonna start to feel unsafe. It's gonna become like a trigger. Every time your dad looks at his phone, you might feel triggered. I'm unimportant. Every time your dad might say, oh, I'm gonna go to work, you might feel, okay, well, he doesn't care about me. Even though that is not what's happening. The truth is not true. And if your dad just communicated with you, if you had that interaction, like if your dad validated your feelings, hey, I'm sorry that you feel like you're not important, I do care, I'm just you know, I'm just a little bit zoned out and I feel stressed out. I just gotten from work. I just want to be with my phone a little bit. I do want to play with you and I will prioritize that. It's not that you're not important. It's that I feel that I'm stressed out and that I just want a minute for myself. I don't feel that I can focus with you in this moment. This is the kind of communication that resolves the trauma. Because as a kid, when you hear your parents say this to you, that you're not the problem, that they do care about you, they do love you, you feel that emotion gets processed. And so that's how your trauma got created. Trauma is unprocessed emotion. And so now, as an adult, you have to start processing emotions yourself. You have to tell this to yourself. When you're processing your own emotions, when you're crying, tell yourself, if someone did hurt you, tell yourself, it is not your fault. I love you. Look at yourself in the mirror. Let yourself cry and be with your emotions. Be okay with having that emotion. And tell yourself, you know what? I get it. It's okay. I know that it hurts. I understand that it's painful. They are just a jerk. Like sometimes people are just jerks. So it's not about you. Tell yourself that they actually, like, no one is actually like a real jerk. You can tell yourself you can start seeing things the way they are, okay? Like by saying they have problems, they have issues, they have trauma that they're trying to project on you, and it is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry that they've treated you like that. That was not okay. And yeah, like if that's someone that you're living with, like you don't have to be with them. You know, maybe you can start to basically, I don't know, like thinking about how, like, rethinking the whole thing, you know? If that's a friendship or a relationship or whatever it is. And that can only happen if you're 100% sure by being with your emotions and sitting with them. Okay? I love you so much. I hope that this video helped you. I am gonna make a part 2 of this video, and I'm gonna finish up with this topic, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. I have a lot to say about it. I didn't realize that it's gonna be this long, but I really do have more to say. I wanna talk about your healing journey and how it's important. And so I'm gonna make a part 2 of this video. I hope that you have a great day and that you really enjoyed this video and that it really helped you to self-regulate, to learn how to soothe yourself. And you have to be that for yourself. And you have to develop like a muscle of sitting with your emotions and letting yourself be with them. Because the only way out is in, okay? I love you so much, and I hope that you unite with all the parts inside of you. And I will see you in the next video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. And if you have any suggestions for me, you can definitely put them in the comment below. I love you, and I'll see you soon.